So let's come down here. Let me cancel this one and let me come down here. So let's say this one is, I think for this one have like the interval depth. So we could come down here and say, okay, if this one has an interval depth, what about, does it have, let's go back to it. Let's see the image. So for number 2, so you could see it has an image. So our job basically might be, I don't think the both images are the same. So our job would be two things. We need to track these images, these TIFF files, to the actual PDF images. That be a tax like your boss can give to you. Okay, it's the same thing. Both of them, this one has this number 2, it has the same thing. So I think it's already extracted. So our job is basically now to store this image independently, like the PDF files, look at the PDF file, extract the interval depth and store them in database, and every other accompanying metadata. And also too, we need to store this information too inside a different database, you know, based on the what's it called, well name. So if I come down here, number 2, this is number 2. So it's the same information. So our job now would be, we need to write a program to crop this guy out because we can't store it with all this information. So we have to crop this guy out and store this information in the database. Now the trick is so that when we are looking for a particular site, right, we could get all the information about that site. The the logs, the core photo. We could get all the information about that site. So I'll show you how to write this kind of program to process data. So most of your job, like most jobs you'll be doing, most of the job you'll be doing, it's basically high-end data processing, tying data from one end to another, log data, core data, petrophysical data, every kind of data you'll be tying them together, storing them in different tables in different database. So we're going to start with core photos, then work our way up. I'll be giving you lots of assignments today because I won't be doing lots of the coding. You guys will be doing the coding. Most of you claim you claim you already have Python experience when it comes to coding, which is good. So even if you don't have, this is a good time to learn. So I'll be coding while I'm teaching you. Then during your own time, the assignments I give to you, you go and find out how to do it. Then as we go further, we're going to be working our way through it. So we're going to start with the first problem, which is this. We have 3 wells, 3 different wells. We want to store all this information inside the database, right? Then we're going to create, so we want to store all the information inside the database and connect them to an image storage blob. When I say blob, it's just a container, like a folder where all the images are stored, so that I could retrieve those images the way I want. Or I could leave them here if I want. It depends on what I want to do, but I'll just show you a workflow on how to do it. Then for this one, it will be a second task where we could actually tie each of the maybe stratigraphic log down to the PDF files, the core interval. So technically, so that it will be easier for clients to actually, they want to quickly see something and they could actually see it. So we're going to start with the most simplest things first, which is the first thing first would be, we go to our VS Code and I'm going to do pwd, present working directory, where I am. So pretty much it's telling me I am in my environment. So I'm going to come down here and ask myself this question. These files, where am I? Where did I store them? So these files are stored core photos, they are stored in my desktop. I kept them in my desktop. I call them core images. Now I could come down here and I'm a Mac user, so don't blame me. So I want to come down here. I need to open a shell command so I could actually access the file path easily. So here I could come down here and do cd desktop. I think I'm already in desktop, but just for the sake of, if you're using Git bash, you can do this. So ls, this is all my information. So I do cd and I'm looking for core images. And if that's the case, then I can do, since I'm in core image, I can do PWD. And so it's telling me that all my core images are stored here. So I copy this part and I come to my my code and I come down here. So I could come here. I need to, so I import another thing, import OS. So OS basically helps you. It's a Python library that helps you talk to your operating system. Then I'll import, which other thing am I going to import? Shuttle. And I'm going to import RE just in case. I don't know. No, is there any need? Oh, let me do it. So I think these ones are good. Oh, one more thing. I need to import pillow. I think so. Is it pillow or pill? Let me see if I have it. I have from pill. Let me do it like this. From pill, import image. Image is capital letter. So if I don't have it, it doesn't run. So I think these are, you could always, if you don't have it, you can always install it. So these are the things you need to do. So now this one helps you load, like visualize your images. This one, on the other hand, pretty much helps you when it comes to it works like the OS, but they help you in terms of pushing data from one point to another. You know, OS is basically I need to be able to integrate, talk to my operating system using Python, then pandas and NumPy, which are basically data structure, libraries that could actually help us cut through, large data structures quicker. So the next thing I'm going to do here is basically define the part where I have my data stored. So I can see a data part. And for a data part, I just put arrow in front of it and I paste this guy. Now, why do I have to put arrow in front of it? Simple reason. Different computers, read data part differently. Some of them, you have to do forward slash, some of them double slash, but if I put arrow, it doesn't matter. It just corrects everything. So it doesn't matter if it's forward slash or backslash, but provided I use arrow, it just makes sense. So I could basically come here and do os.list everything in this directory. And I do list everything, and I do data part, and I ask it to list it for me. So it tells me all the folders that are here. So the folders that are here are these folders, which is, you could see all the folders we mentioned. This one is just, what's it called? My Mac package, whatever it is. So I could just, to make life easy, I could just do for n in, and I could print this, print n. So you could see all the information, all the folders that are here. So the point is I want to access each of these folders. And how do I access the folders? Typically, I could come down here and say, okay, all I have to do is just come here and I do formatted string, and I put my data part. Since I won't have time to explain Python to you, but just this would help you understand how for loops are being used. What I'm just doing is for loops. So, and I come down here and I put the value of n. Now the trick is simple. I need to just see everything like in terms of the part. So that if I copy this, if I click on this stuff, it takes me to where, sorry. If you're using Windows, this is easier for you. Cancel, thank you, God bless you. So if I take this stuff, you can see this is basically a path where the folder is being located. So if you're using Windows, if you just copy this stuff and you put it on the top of your Windows to search for the path, it will take you to this folder. But another thing is it's consigning. This is just a path. There are files stored inside this path. I want to access those files inside this path. Are you getting me? So all I have to do is basically just store this, save this guy as, let's say, a folder path, which is folder path. And for my folder path, I can come here and see folder. I can see for files. Now I want to find the files. in folder path. So this is basically a nested loop for files in folder path. So what do I need to do to access this file? So the next thing I'm going to do here for files in, no, I'm not using for files in folder path. So I'm trying to access the files in this folder. So all I have to do is basically I come here and do files os.list dir because these are all folder paths. So and I just put folder path here. So here, this one pull out all the files, but I need to be able to track the files. So I can see for J in files. Now I'm going to show you another problem we're going to have, but before then, so let me print files. Let's see what happens here. So this is going to print out an error because of what? There's no sort that file directly as this. So I know what the problem is. So I'm going to come down here and print file. So we're still, sorry, brother. So I'm going to come here and print folder path, then I'm going to solve that problem. Now, what's n? You see, there's nothing like n. Sorry, oh, my problem. I removed the f. So this works. So let's see, first of all, let's see this guy, if this guy works first. I think files, if I start moving stuff, os.list dir, and I put folder path here. So let's see if this works. If it doesn't work, we go back and find out why. I know. So look at what I'm trying to say. So you could see here, it's telling you that there's no such directory as this because this was generated. So we have to put it out. So what we're going to do here is basically simple. We're going to say for n in, I'm going to put an if condition. If let me come down here and put it. If there are better ways to write this, if ds, let me write it, if ds underscore store in n, you can say pass, no, let's say not in n. Let's do like this. So we don't want the df underscore. So let's see if this works. So I can use a tab, and I hope this works. So I don't want to access. So you can see it's picking up. You could see all the files, pretty much all the files. It's picking up all the files, but this is not arranged in the way I want it to be arranged. So the trick is basically how do we arrange this stuff properly? So you could see all the files. It's just picking up the files in a random way. So now let's clean up this stuff properly. So let's come down here. Let's start with this. Let's print n. So this n. So this n. But before we go to n, I can do in this comprehension here. I can do if let me do this comprehension data. So I can do n in n. I don't like using this comprehension. Let me do n. Let me see if I'll correct that dot ds. Let me just copy it because I don't want this guy. Oh, there's a better way to do it. Sorry, my guys. Sorry, my people. So let me just come down here and print os.list so that this won't be a difficult thing for you guys to look at. So I'm looking at data part. So I'll answer your question quickly. So this everything I want down here. So, but what I want is I only want to access this information, this one, these two, because these three, this is where our data is being stored. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to say core data, core data, and for my core data, I can just use something as simple as this. And I pick the next, let me see, the last two. Somebody has a question. You can ask your question. Let me see how this one works. Print core data or the last three. Let's see what happens. Ask your data. Ask your question.
Well, all right, so just to make sure that
Mm,
just to confirm that we are in the same page.
mm.
So the app that you're using to do this is the Postgres, right?
Ah,
The one you asked us to download.
it's not Postgres. Clearly, this Python.
Okay, this is Python. So with this Python, we can be able to access those data that we downloaded,
Have you been following what I've been saying?
and we can now upload it. Yes, but I'm kind of a bit confused.
Okay. That's what it is to be a teacher. So I gave you a link to download some files, right? And I told
Yes.
you download the files. Basically, for me, the link, I used the link to download the files and I stored it like this. I created a folder called core images and I stored those files I downloaded inside the core image folders. Now, in that file, you're going to see inside that link. Let me check if I can see the link. I need to share my screen. So let me reshare. So this desktop too. You see something called report for images. If you open that link, you notice you have something like this. No, not this one. Okay, public core images. On that link, if you click on it, you could see this one, which is this one, the mid Norway. All I did was download this one entirely. I downloaded this one. Now, for this one, I already gave you the link to download the ones we needed. So what you're downloading here is download everything apart from this. This one is too large. That's why I didn't download it. This is 564 MB. So you're downloading this one, and this one. So if you notice from my folder, you notice the ones that are downloaded. You notice the public core images. You're downloading this one, everything. This one has those PDF files. Can you see? And also all those core log stuff. You have this one too. It has the core log stuff. This one. So that's what I told you to download. You download that stuff and you store it inside your own machine. Create a folder called core images and store it. This is how I stored mine. I created a folder. Maybe I didn't explain that part to you guys, but sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So did you see what I was showing you in terms of the core images?
Yes, I saw that, sir.
Is it on the what's it called? On the did you what are you seeing now?
I'm seeing your share with me like your drive.
Yeah,
How come?
did you see everything I showed you guys like on downloading this one?
Yes.
Okay, so what you're doing is downloading this entire. You can just click here, download everything. Then for this one, I selected when I open core photos, I just sent you the link. So you see, download this one. It's a zip file, all the core images for this one. Just look at the file size. Download everything, this one, 2, 3. Don't download this one. Why? Because it's a lot of, you know, normally we don't, this stuff are being processed in the cloud, so you don't have to work around it. So that would help you. So for me, this is what I did. If I share my screen again, let me share again. Share my screen. You notice that you can see how I stored mine. I created a folder called core images. I downloaded that midway, that one I showed you first. Then I went to those core stick images and I downloaded those three. Everything, I put them in one folder. Have you gotten it now?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Good.
So from this now, you can be able to just click the plus sign, which is a sign of uploading a file into the Python itself.
No, madam, no, you can't upload anything to Python. You're not uploading, you're accessing the. Okay, just pay attention. Just pay attention. That's why I spent my time explaining. You're not uploading anything in Python. Python is a programming language. You're basically using Python as a tool, to actually access this files stored in your computer. So there's no drag and drop. You have to write code for it. So what we're doing here is basically using Python as a tool, basically to access these files. I told you I was talking about installing. That's why you have to listen to everything I'm saying. We talked about installing, libraries, and notice all the file. Let me just remove this guy. Is this not all the file names? Yeah, Python was able to find the file names. That's what I was trying to explain. That's the first thing first. So we're using Python as a tool, which is a programming language to access the files on our machine so that we can use it to process it. The Postgres is like a storage where you store the processed version of these images, not as an image, rather as metadata. The image itself, we're going to create the file structure, how we're going to store it on our database, on what's it called? On, a container. What we call a container is more like on a folder. But this folder basically, in reality, this folder is basically a drive that the cloud can access. Forget about that first. For now, just focus on how Python can be used to process, the files that you have on your machine. In our first class, I talked about installation of all this stuff, the virtual environment. It's still the same thing I'm using. Did you watch the video at all before you came for the class?
Yes, I did, sir.
Do you remember the part where we set up the lecture hub series virtual environment? Did you remember?
Yes,
Good, that's why I see.
yes, sir.
Is this clear now?
Yeah.
Good. So for this, we're interested in just this three. 1, 2, 3. So how do I get it? I can use this sign and say, okay, this is what we call what's it called? Slicing. So the last three would be 0, 1. So I'm starting from 1. Let's say 1, and let me see what happens. It's still picking midway, but I don't want midway, so I'll start from 2. So pretty much it gives me only the ones I'm interested in. So I can call this data folder. Call data folder. So I can call this call data folder, and I can print this one out now. So I can print this guy out. Call data folder. So pretty much this is it, the call data folder. Now the next step would be, let me just be doing it in different line, would be if I have the call data folders, how do I access the files and call data folders? So if I come here and do for I in call data folder, and I print print I, what happens here? This is all the folder name, right? Now for me to access the files here, it simply means I need to adjust it to the file path. So I can come here and do F, which is formatted string, and I am taking the data path. And for the data part, if you know small Python, this won't be a problem for you. Maybe you can watch the video again. So what happens here is, now it's giving me the full file path to the information, right? So I can call this folder path. And for the folder part, what am I doing? I want to access I want to access the for the folder part, I want to access the files inside of the folder. And how do I access the file inside of the folder? So the first thing first I can do is basically pretty much for each of the folder, I can store the folder part independently. So just to make it easier, I can call this full core so that it will be easier for you when you're studying it folder. And I can create an empty and I can store them there. I say full core folder dot append. And what do I do? And I put folder part. And the next thing I'm going to do here is basically, if I print this, it's going to appear like an array. This solves the problem. Easy. Everything's stored in the folder. Now, the next thing I want to do here is to read each of these folder parts one after the, I'm going to write comments later so that I'm doing it like this so that when you're reading through it, it's easier. So I can do for J in full core folder and I print J. What happens? This is all the files I have here. So I can do, I want to read the file in J. I want to read the file for each of them. So all I have to do is os.list directory. So read each of the files inside of this folder. What happens here? It's going to come down here and you could see for the first one, all the files. Look at all the file here in the first one. You could see the file. So, but now for you to be able to, this is just the file name. You can see the file name, but this doesn't make sense. It's just showing you the file name, but you want the full file path. So how do you get the full file path for each of them? Remember, the full folder name has the full file path. So what you're going to do here is basically come down here and let me show you a trick. So let me keep this one here. Let me call this file name. This is going to be important later. File name. And for the file name, what's important next is I can come here and print full folder, full core folder path, which is J. So I'll come here and call it formatted string, and I say call J, and for J, what is J having? It's going to have the file name. If you don't understand this, don't worry, you just have to. So you can see each of them now has their file path. Now, to confirm this is true, if I pick this guy, this one of the file path, this one of the file name. So just to confirm it's true, what I'm going to do is basically try to view the image just to show you. So if I come down here to view the image just to see if it's working, I come down here and I see image path and I pick one of them. Let's say I pick this one just to see if it's actually true. I copy it and I paste it here. And I put arrow in front of it just the way I had explained. And I come down here. And for me to view it, I'm using and I do img as, and I use image.open. Why am I using image.open? Because I imported image from Pillow. I got image. I'm using image.open, and I open and I put image path. And what do I do? And I come down here to print image. So if I run this, if this is correct, it's going to show the image. So there's a problem. So it's telling us that the file name does not exist because of how it was done. So something is wrong somewhere. So because of this, is picking, okay, I think I know why it's picking. Look at, this is not correct. It's picking, so now I know how to fix that problem. So let's assume we are working with, let's come down here. Let me print file name. I didn't see that, I'm sorry. So these are all the file name, right? So what do? I'll do for J in file name, print file name. So it's printing multiple file names. This is not what I want. So I print file name again. That's not what I want. So what happens here? These are the file name. I want to pick each of the file name one after the other. So if I come down here and Okay, if I come down here, so let's see what happens. Let me see how the array looks like. Let me do something like this. For n in file name, print n. I think I've done this. I want to pick it. They're all in an array, but it's not. Let me see what the problem might be. Yeah, it's working now. So these are all the file name, just where I want them to be. So the next thing I want to do is I want to attach their what's it called? So I'll just come down here and put formatted string, and I come down here to pick the file name itself, which is J. And the next thing I want to do is put it with N and hope this works. So if this works, yeah, it's working. So this is basically the file name for each of them. So all I have to do is just basically copy one of these ones and come down here and replace it here. I put arrow in front of it, and this would give me something. So you could see I was able to pick the information. Now, this is kind of interesting because for this particular file, you could see the depth for the file was written. This is 212, 213, 214. Obviously, what does that even mean? So I'll have to find out. So you could pretty much pick any of this file and check the 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 image. So I can pick this one to look at the image to see if what we've done is correct. So you can see everything is correct. Now the next thing we want to do is basically we want to put this in a proper structure. Now remember, this is the full far part. Let's call this complete, complete, complete far part. And if this is the complete far part, I have to store this far part, let's say in a data frame. So let's say far part so that I don't have this. And I can come in to say far part dot append. Now we're going to do a trick to check if everything we've done is correct. So if I come down here, I do complete far part, and this works here. So what do I do here? And I can just do far part, and let me do just for the sake of it 10. It shows only 10. So but I don't need this. It's already saved in. So let's try something. So let's come down here. I'm going to do learn file path just to see how many files we have. Like, because of how many files we have in entire data. So we have 1062 core photos. That's what we have. Now, but those 1062 core photos are spread across how many file paths? That's another thing we need to find out. So let's come down here just to check. So what do? We do for I in just to break it down, for I in file path. So what do? I print I and I print this, but I want to know the far part is spread across. So I do dot split, and I'm splitting by slash. So if I'm splitting by slash, that means I don't want to take the file name, right? I only want to take everything apart from the file name. So what do I do here? I take, I do -1, then I come down here and I run through this guy. So what do I do here? I do something like this. Then I do dot join. I open the bracket and I put this here. So what am I joining with? Backslash or forward slash? Let's check forward slash. So I say data part. So if I print this data part, it's going to show me print data part, and it's going to show me this. These are all the data parts. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this guy inside of an array. Let's say far part, because I want to count the far part just to see if what we're doing is correct. We're supposed to have 3 unique far parts. If that's not what we have, it seems there's a problem. So I do far part dot append. See how I'm playing with for loop, so you could see for loop is very important. So I do set, that means set far part, and if I run this, far part dot append data part. And first of all, see is the far part spell correct? Dot append data part. So let's print. So it's empty. So why is it empty? So we have far part dot append data part. This correct. Let me print this one first because it showed values, but let me print data part. It showed us there's nothing in data part. Why? So I think there's a problem with the join. So I dot split. Let's see. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. So let me come down here and do it again. Good. So let me print I here, and this is my file part too. So let me uncomment this one just to see if there's a problem here. Okay, data part here, that's correct. So the next thing I'm going to do is just come down here and do something like this. Hopefully this works. So yeah, it's working. So all I have to do is just say set, just to see if the file part is 3 file parts, because that's, and how do I know it's 3? Okay, I need to pick, let me do minus, I need to split first, I dot split, then I take -1. If this works, are we having 3? What am I doing, guys? So let me remove this guy first. I need to, don't worry, you watch the, I'll just, after I'm done writing this and just putting it in the format I want you to do, I'll just take my time to explain it. So I want to pull out the, so let me remove this. Basically it's I dot split, the same thing. So if I pick minus, good. Then if I do dot join, then I cover this guy up. This makes sense. So if I come down here to do this with everything I've done so far, so yes, so if I do it in far part, I'm doing it in core, I think this should be able to give us the answer we need. So far part append data parts is showing us that it's showing us different stuff. So I need to find out what the problem is. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. The print is making us not see the result. So I run this guy. So, and Yes, it's correct. So if I come down here to see lists, and I see length of the list, just get me the length of the value. So it's showing me that the far part is 3. So it makes sense. So that means this confirms that we're correct too. We have 3 far part and 4. So I'm just going to put comments from the start. So let's start with the comment first, so that when you're going through it, it's easier. You just copy the code and understand each of the code. So the first one here we're doing here is we are importing useful libraries. The second thing we're doing is defining storage far part and selecting the folders we want to work with. The next thing we're doing is creating link for complete accessible folder path. And the next thing we're doing is creating link for complete accessible file path. File and folder are two different things. And then here's just a count of all the files we have. Count of all the files we have. And the next thing we're going to do, this is just a count of all the folders we have. Count of all the folders we have. Now, and the last thing we're doing is just visualizing, inspecting, the images, let's say the core image be collected. So this is what we did here. Now, the next step now would be basically creating a data frame, to handle this information. So now we know all the files we have, right? We know that we have that information. So all the files we have here is 106, which is basically file path. So if I come here, I do file path, it's in a, so that's it. So the next thing I'm going to do, use something called data frame. I'll do pd the data frame, and I put everything here inside, like done inside the data frame. So now I'm going to do, let me call it df1, and I'm going to do df1 dot column, and I'm going to call this guy file path. So I call it df1. So if I run this guy now, see, that's the file path, but we need the file name too. So dot head. So we need the file name. How do we get the file name? Simple. We come down here. Since we have df1, so now here we're adding structure. This one now we're adding structure. The files. So now how do we The next thing we're going to do now for this one, there's a file path. We need to get the so I'll come down here and do df1, and I'm picking file path here, and I do something called dot values. I want to pick only the file name, so I do for file, let's say file name, anything. Let me just call it for n in then I print this guy, print n. So this brings out all the information again. Then I do dot split, which is something elementary Python you would know how to use that. And what am I splitting? I'm splitting them based on, I want the file name. So I'm splitting based on slash, and that's what I'm doing. So now I need the file name, which is the last one. So how do I get the file name? I do something like this. I put 0. So what happens here? This gives me, sorry, file name, it's -1, the last one, file name. Now notice also too, the well name also is stored somewhere on the file. So you could see the well name is stored like here. So I could save two things at the same time. So I could say, okay, I need two things here. I need well name, so that I need the file name. Then I'll give you an assignment to get the rest. So I have a question. Any question for now? Obviously, I know you have a lot of questions, but just wait when I give you the assignment, you figure the rest out. So to get the well name here is from the back, -1, -2. So -1 approximately is this last one, which is the file name. So you're gonna do file name.append, and this solves the problem. Now for well name, I just have to copy this one, the same one, and I put it here. So instead of -1 here will be -2, -2. But the problem in -2, let me comment this one first so that we can play with -2 properly. So let me print it first so you could actually see. This the -2. But the problem with -2, I don't want it to have well and images. I just want it to have well name. So how do I get the well name? There are different ways I could do it, you know. I could come down here and say, okay, I want to let's say so this is what they call the preprocessing steps. You know, so before your machine learning and everything, this is an important step. So if I come down here and print well name, so what happens here? I'm having this. Then if I split this one again, I want to split it by underscore, right? By underscore. So if I split by underscore, so notice anything images, I don't want it. Anything well, I don't want it. So how do I remove it? Are you getting me? So simple. There are ways I could do it. There are two ways the file appears. There are two ways it appears. It appears like this, like 3 values, and it appears it appears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside. Some of them appears 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to understand it. So you could do it in such a way whereby you could replace well name with something else, whatever it is. But this is my method. I'm going to call this data, and I'm going to say if length of the data, that means if I count what's inside that stuff and it's equal to 5, let me see only those ones. Print data, that's the only ones I want to see. So the 5. So, and if it's equal to 5, I only want from, this is 0, so I want from number 1 to minus 1. So if I run this guy, so this all is giving me. So I can come here to do join. And what am I joining? I'm joining this like this. I can see well name 1. And I can come here to print this one. Well name 1. That's the first instance. So if I run this, this works for this one. But this is not the only data available here. So you could do else. What other thing is available? Else, let's print the rest. Print other ones. So what we're going to do here, just we're going to comment this one and put something called pass here so that we can see the information. So here, what am I doing here? I'm printing data. So if I run this guy, you can see this one is like, all of them are like 4. So makes life easy for us. So if they're all 4, easy life for us. All we have to do is basically just say else. For this data, we just want only from number 1 to the infinity. So if I run this, so that's it. So I can come here and do underscore join, and I put this guy here. So if I come down here, I can call this well name 2, and I can, instead of now, I can uncomment this one. I can uncomment this one. Let me do greater than or equal to 5, just in case we have something else to show me. So I remove the pass. So for this one, I want to append everything to well name. So I do well name dot append well name 1. So I come here and do well name dot append well name 2. Right? So let me do equal to 5 so that in case there's something else, so I can see. Okay, don't worry, it's gonna work. So for the file name itself, this is just for well name. So append well name. Did I spell something properly? String object has no append. Let me do something like this and pass this one first. Then I come back to the code to see why it's telling me the bullshit. Tomorrow I would have time to answer the questions. Just let me finish this stuff so I can give you guys something to work on. Guess good. Is there an error somewhere? Doesn't look like. So this is well name, so I can have, sorry, well name 2, not well name. What am I doing? Okay. Everything looks legit. So let me add like do dot strip so that everything, it removes the empty spaces and everything looks good together. So everything is on the same line. So why is it saying? So I'll just come down here and let me run everything. So I come down here and I can come down here and well name underscore 2. So let's see what the future holds for us. So let's see well name dot well append well name underscore 2, and for this one well name dot append well name underscore 1. Then I pull out the pass and hopefully this works. Let's see. a minute. Let me see. Oh, so string object has, so okay. Okay. See. Okay, I think I know what it is. So let me come down here and just print. When you're coding, you have ChatGPT say to help you. I mean, I can't use ChatGPT because I want you guys to understand. So if I have everything here, so well name data. Okay, I think I know what it is. Okay. Yeah, because well name and well name, this one was holding that information hostage. So well name data, and I think we're good here. Okay. So all I have to do is come down here and say, okay, let's see how it looks. So I could come down here and see df1 well name, and I put well name data, and I load df1 just to see. So you can see the well name is here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we want to pull out the file name. Now this is, we already have here for the file name, we just have to do something like this: file name.append file name, and we're picking number one. So if I run this, so I can do df here and I can see file name. And for the file name, what are you putting here? You're saying file name is file name. And if I run everything, so if I come down here to load this one, df1, so I have well name and I have the file name. So I'm going to save this guy as an Excel and I'll share it to you guys. So your job will be simple. Your job is basically you're going to create another column called depth top. Let me write it here. That's what you're going to work on. Depth top and depth base. Depth base. These are the two things you're going to work. Let's start simple. Now, those columns should be here, and those depth top, you're going to extract this information. The first one here, this one here, would be in the depth top, and this one here would be in the depth base. So both of them would be here. So that's your assignment for the weekend. So now I can assess your questions. That's the first thing you're going to do for me. So if you have questions, you can ask me now. Now with this, what happens is we're able to structure the files based on the well names, the file paths. So we're going to extract data. Then for each of the file, if we find any metadata, we can add that metadata to the column, the ones that have it. So for example, remember for this one, I think we found something that had some information attached to it. Not this one. So now I want to answer your question before I move further, before I go to the next step. Questions? You have to ask me something. You can't tell me that you understand everything I'm saying. You have to ask me a question. I'm waiting for the question. If not, I'm not going to move on, no matter how stupid it is.
Okay, sir, please, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, it's not like a question, but although I believe I cannot speak the mind of every other person, but I'm having some challenges in understanding the steps. But
I'm listening. Hello? If everybody's understanding, that means you guys are trying to scam me. So someone has to ask a question. I think Gucci has been asking, right? Is it Gucci?
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right, sir. It's Samuel. So I was thinking, it's going to take a bit, more listening to be able to digest it. I think that's the point we are now. So, and the good thing about it is it's recorded, so we can
Okay.
actually visit and be able to do some catch up later.
Okay. Good. So,
So, if we have any question, I think we can actually drop it in the group while we are trying to rewatch the video.
okay. So I shouldn't bombard you with lots of information now. So what I'm gonna do is basically simple. I'm gonna save like for this file, we're gonna save it somewhere. So I'm gonna come down here and see df1 dot to Excel, and I'll put it anywhere. Let me just put it here. Um, core photos data index equal to false. Now, your job is basically, I've given you the assignment. I think this would, okay, I don't have open Excel. So let me do it in CSV then if I don't have open Excel. So your job is basically simple. I'll send the CSV file. You could see how the CSV file is, just so that you can follow what I'm doing. You could actually try your best to watch videos on Python and see how you could actually work around it. Your job is simple. You can actually get the information. So you could see, I just want you to get the depth information. Look at the depth information on the file part, on the file name. See these two, but I want them to be in separate columns. So yeah, depth top and depth base. I'll stop here so I don't bombard you with lots of information. You guys are too quiet. There's a lot, so
All
much.
right, all right, sir. Which of them is the depth stop and
The first one, the smaller one.
okay,
Notice the
okay.
two values here. So your job is basically just spread them out into two different columns.
Okay.
Mm. That's your first
All right.
task.
All right, sir. We'll do that, sir.
Okay, I'll stop here. And you have everything you need. You could watch the videos again. Notice I'm using a Linux environment. So the way my file path will show will be different from yours. Understand your own file path, play around with it and see how you can actually work around it. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine, sir.
Okay. Let me stop here. You guys are too quiet, like crazy. I thought you guys had foundation knowledge in Python. I think the problem is most people don't. Most people who if you have issues with if you're not good with Python, can I see your hands? Like if you just drop a message on the chat. If you're not if Python is not your thing, just drop a message here. Let me see how. Like drop a message in the chat if you're not really good on Python. Okay, I can see one. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, that's the problem. I think it's a Python bit. So I'm going to send you a book called Automating Boring Stuff with Python so you could actually take a look at it. Then, the problem is Python now. The problem is Python. So let me see if I can find the book Automating Boring Stuff with Python. I'll send you a link to download it just now. You just have to you have to learn how to code in Python. So, and for 7 weeks or how many 2 months, I can't teach you Python and teach you how to apply it. It doesn't, I don't think there's a way we can do that. But you have to watch videos on Python so that you can understand the most basic stuff. I'm gonna send you a link. 1 minute. So this would only take you 2 hours. AI creation platform made for anyone with an welcome to the complete Python mastery course. This would only take you 2 hours to watch. 2 hours, and we can start from there. Basically, just spend your week watching it. Split it. You don't have to watch. Don't watch all at the same time. You know, split it. Watch 20 minutes today, 20 minutes tomorrow. In fact, if you can watch and you stop in follows or dictionaries, like you've done a lot, the rest you could learn as you go. You know, is that okay? Is that okay? Is there anything you guys could suggest on how to make the class more better? For those of you who don't have Python knowledge, I think that's a problem. Okay, I'll have to stop here then. No one is saying anything, so I'll have to stop here. If you have any questions, drop it on the chat. Okay, guys, let me let you.
All
Yeah,
right, sir.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Have a lovely day. Yeah.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, so thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
So please just give me a minute. Let me drop the form. All right, please everyone kindly fill the form. Please, thank you. That's the form for attendance. Please, as everyone access the form, because we're about to end the call. All right, thank you, Favor. All right, thank you. Thank you, Joe. So I believe every other person have clicked the link because that's the most important thing. Just or copy. You can also copy the link. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you too. So Joe, please you can end the call because I'm seeing that you are the host. You can end the call now and I'll stop the recording too. Also stop the yeah, you can just do that. Stop the recording, then the YouTube live and end the call. Oh beloved, please can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, yeah, can you help us and end the call? Okay. Since everybody has accessed the link for attendance, just help us and end the call. It will automatically stop the recording and the live show.
All right, okay, I'll do that right now.
Okay, thank you so much.